Welcome to a new episode of Song Sessions. I'm your host, David Pomeranz, and today we have with us a very special guest. He and his wife, Cynthia Weil, and his partner are writers of modern pop classics that you all know. They're parts of your life, and actually they've been affecting, we figured it out, 3 generations of public, of listeners around the world. His songs include, here's a little short list, On Broadway, Here You Come Again, I Love How You Love Me, Sometimes When We Touch, Just Once, We Gotta Get Out of This Place, Soul and Inspiration, Don't Know Much, Somewhere Out There and You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling, which is the most performed song in radio history. It's the biggest actually performed song in the 20th century. Isn't that incredible? And just to name a few, they're Grammy-Award winners, Oscar nominees, and inductees into both the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'd say one other thing about you, Barry. Aside from the mega success that these people have achieved, theirs is a quality of work that sets a standard for excellence for anyone wanting to get into this songwriting business. His melodies are always fresh, unforgettable, unique, structurally smart, and heartfelt. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a joy to spend some quality time today with the extraordinary and brilliant Barry Mann.
I'm going to keep coming back here. You keep introducing me like that. I'm going to sleep over your house.
Oh, my friend, it's all true. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. It occurred to me, it's one thing to have written so many hit songs, and it's another thing to write them all so well.
Oh, well,
yes, you bet. When you were growing up in Brooklyn, who were your songwriting heroes? Who did you listen to? Who did you emulate?
It's interesting. There was a lot of classical music being played in my house. My older brother was into classical music and also a lot of show tunes. And I loved the melodies. I loved the songs. Yeah. But I didn't know the name of the songwriters. And I'm sure it was people like Richard Rodgers, and Hart, Larry Hart, a lot of great show writers. And then of course there's classical music, which, leaked into my ears from my brothers. Anyway,
incredible.
I didn't know any people in the music business. Rock and roll didn't even start. I just started to hear about rock and roll when I was about 15 or so, when I was in high school.
Wow.
And so I didn't know, but I didn't have a favorite writer then because I didn't know much about that.
Sure. Did you go to see some of those shows, the Broadway musicals, when you were living there?
Yeah. I was not a big show fan. Cynthia was a Broadway baby. So I'd go along with her, and I'd see some shows, but they didn't knock me out.
Right, but those original writers that you speak of, that was the thing that put blood in your veins, yeah? Yes.
I like Richard Rodgers, such a great melodist. Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, Barry, because he's my hero.
He is, huh?
Oh yes,
yes. Too.
Yeah, he was actually extraordinary. And so your brother played, and were your mom and dad musical at all, or?
My mother played the piano. Actually, played better
nice.
than me. I'm not a great piano player, but she played piano. She used to play piano for the PTA when they had some kind of event. And my father had no musical talent at all. My brother played a little bit of piano. But I was the one. I was the one who took over the house with my music.
I have a quick question, because I did this when I was a kid. Did they have at that time songbooks with chord symbols above?
That's how I learned to play music, how to improvise. I would buy lead sheets, or not. They're not called lead sheets, but of the songs that were hits.
Right.
You know, and there were chord symbols on the right over the lyrics.
Right.
And I had picked up a ukulele, and I started to use the ukulele with the chord symbols, you know. And I learned a lot about music. I learned how to transpose, you know, and that certain fingerings were more open sounding. And that's a part of my musical background. I don't have a big one. My music, I ended up first. I took some popular piano lessons just to learn the basics of piano. Because a friend of mine had done the same thing, and he was playing piano great. And then the same friend, I heard him play popular songs. And I thought, wow, that's great. So I'll use his piano teacher. And I did. I used the piano teacher. And then I passed the music room where I had been hearing all these sounds. And I heard him singing. And he was singing a song that I didn't know. And I really liked it a lot. And not only was he singing a song, but there must have been about 3 or 4 girls surrounding him at the piano. And I asked him about that, and he said, "Well, he wrote the song himself." He said, "Oh," and I said, "Well, I gotta learn to do that too." So I'll have maybe I'll have a few women around me when I play the piano.
And did it work when you taught it, got a tune or two? Did they flock?
Yes, yeah, it did. It did work.
It's funny,
which is a blessing.
Well, I understand. I know a lot of musicians own up to that fact. Me too. You know that it was all about girls.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was about girls, but it was also I wanted to learn how to play piano. Before I took lessons, I would sit at the piano and I played chopsticks, of course. Everybody does who doesn't know. And I played my mother came from Germany, my sister came from France, my brother came from something to buy a pair of pants. That's only using the black keys. Da 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 da. So that was my venture into the pop music.
That's fascinating. You know, it's interesting. I'm going to talk about this a little later as well, but it's funny you should say that about that kind of a melody. I was admiring in so many of your compositions, what makes them fresh is those melodies really are original. I mean, there are only there are 12 notes,
right?
You know, and what makes the difference. I experienced this with Paul McCartney's work too. You know, what makes the difference is, you know, how you arrange the thing and where do you jump to and if you don't jump back to what's expected, you jump back to the note just before the one that was expected, and you get a very interesting piece. And you do write that way, and it's interesting. You just described even the exercise instead of the doodle do dee 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 do 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 do, which how a lot of writers think, and you think in leaps, which I so admire. I'll talk to you about that in a minute.
Yeah, you know, I never analyzed, you know, my process.
Probably just as well.
I just know I had a great knack for ballads, for love songs. They came easier than the other stuff.
Interesting, very interesting.
Even though We've Lost Our Love and Feeling was a combination of both, a great ballad, plus R&B jumped right in there in the middle of the song.
Well, when you wrote your first songs, or at least the ones that we got to know, like She Say, which is it's so great.
Did you know it?
I didn't know it, and then when I was doing some research about it, I was saying, I wonder what his first hit was, and played it. And you say you move and she moves. Oh, she say you bow and you bow. Right. It's so clever and adorable.
It's funny. I always say, I wrote, my first song was She Say, Doobie Doom. And then I wrote Who Put the Bump in the Bump, Bump, Bump. And then I learned how to speak English, and I wrote I could speak English.
A new language.
Yes.
That is so funny. Oh, bump. So when you wrote that with Jerry Goffin, right? He was the lyricist on that one. And but it was with you as a writer, as a performer, as a singer. Did you write it for yourself, or did you wind up recording it, or the demo? No one could beat your demo, and therefore it was released. Or how did that come to be?
No, I don't. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I even cut a demo on it. I'm trying to remember how the song got to the publisher. This is before I was with Olden Music.
Right.
Right. It was a hit in 1959.
Yes, it was a big hit.
It was top 10, which was surprising.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to stop here and there, Barry, and for those people who may not know certain things, I'm just going to orient them a bit. Who Put the Bump was a novelty song, but it was written by Barry and Jerry Goffin. Who put the bump in the bump a bump a bump? Who put the ram in the ram a lam a ding dong? And it was a take on the kind of nonsense lyrics that were being sung in songs at the time. And it was an enormous hit, and Barry was the singer, and he had the hit as the artist. So that's how that's what that was. Then here's the other thing that I'm very curious about. I hope you don't mind me asking questions, because
not at all.
We've seen you. I've seen you. Kelly and I have met you here and there, but I've never had a chance, and I've had these questions. So now's my opportunity.
All right.
When you wrote "I Love How You Love Me,"
right,
which is a gorgeous, gorgeous song. And the Paris Sisters had the hit, and then Bobby Vinton later on did it. You wrote it with a writer called Larry Culber. Am I right?
Right. Sure.
Okay. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is at the time, in the dawn of rock and roll records, there was a lot of for musicians. There's C, A minor, F, G. We go dan 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 dan. And
it was the bump and the bump. Yeah, who put the bump and the bump, bump, bump.
Well, right, that had it, but and that was the parody of it. That was the gorgeousness of it. But then you got this song that they wrote called "I Love How You Love Me," and it starts out with two chords that are similar like that, but there's a melody on this thing. It's so interesting. You said Richard Rodgers, okay, but it's a melody goes, "I love how you love me, C D D D da A minor," right. And then it goes into a traditional melody that could be or could have been from a Broadway show or anything.
Really?
I like the way do I do we do do dee do. Oh, darling, most of all, I love how you love me. So again, like you were saying when you were practicing, I like the way do we do bo be do. It's gorgeous, but it really exemplifies the depth of maybe what you heard growing up, but your talent for melody. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
It's extraordinary.
When I wrote the song, I played it for Cynthia, and I didn't have the da 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 da. It wasn't in the song. I had something else there. And she said she felt it could be stronger. Usually she doesn't comment on stuff like that.
Wow.
And she was right. And then I added that to the middle of the song.
Wow.
And to me, it ends up being the hook of the song in a way.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely extraordinary. What was the first? So you met Cynthia how? At Alden Music or before?
No, I was at Walden Music, and I went up with Howie Greenfield. I went up to play a song for a recording artist named Teddy Randazzo. I don't know if you'd even know him. He was, he was the handsome boy singer, being managed by Stephen Eady's manager. Anyway, I went up there to their office to play the song, and she was there. She was standing in the doorway, and I thought, that's interesting. Very pretty blonde. But then I got involved, of course, in playing the song, and after I left, little did I know that she said, "Who is that?" You know, and one of those kind of things. And she found out that I was at Alden Music, and a friend of her knew Donnie Kirshner, who was the Don of All Don, and she made an appointment with him to show him her lyrics. She was a lyricist.
Oh, yeah.
And so she went up there and hoping to meet me. And she played the stuff with Donnie, and Donnie liked the stuff. And he said, "I have the perfect person for you to write with." And she thought, well, here comes the guy, you know.
Wow. And
in walked this girl in about 16 years old. I think she was pregnant there. And it was Carole King. and Carole was writing with Jerry at the time still, you know. They all three of them wrote a song together, you know. Nothing happened with that. But anyway, that's how I met her. And eventually, when she was up there, I was up there at the same time. And we started to talk, and we ended up getting close, you know. Wow. And I would, you know, stay at her house for a few days, go home, you know, that scene. And I didn't ask, I don't know why, I didn't ask to see her lyrics right away. And I did. I got very interested in her, in her lyric and her talent. And I asked her to show me some of her lyrics. And I really loved them. I thought that they really had like a sophistication and a soulfulness that really would work terrifically in the musical marketplace.
Right.
And that's how we ended up starting.
And would she generally give you a lyric and you would put a tune to it at that time?
No, she likes most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, I gave her a melody. You know, if you have a great melody, it's really makes it easier to write a hit or to be moved emotionally. At least I feel that way.
Yes, I agree with you. So that brings us to the question that you're always asked, but I have to ask it, which is,
sure,
you know, because of the legend of the Brill Building. And so I found out something interesting, which I didn't know, because obviously the Brill Building is still there. The Brill Building, everyone, is a place where in New York City, it's like Camelot. It was a once far off place where Barry and Cynthia and Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield, Carole King, Jerry Goffin, Jeff Barry, Ellie Greenwich, Neil Diamond, Paul Simon, Phil Spector, and Jack Keller and others would sit in what was what? It was cubicles in an office space.
Yeah, there were about
little pianos.
Yeah, 4 cubicles, and each room had an upright piano, another chair, because there'd be a stool, a piano stool, and an ashtray, and that was it.
Wow.
And now we didn't always write in the cubicles. I mean, I know I wrote half of my songs at home, and I would write in the cubicles, but I eventually spent more time at home than I did there.
Oh, interesting. When you sit in a cubicle and you're sitting in an upright chair and it's business, it's time to go, ding. Do you find that it's enlivening for you, or it was just better at home, just where you were relaxed and you're?
Yeah, but I just did. You know, when I wrote back then, I just wrote. I just did it. You know, I didn't realize what was going to happen years later with my songs, and of course now I can look back at it with a lot of nostalgia, and of course appreciate the energy. I mean, there's tremendous amount of energy and competition between Carole and Jerry, Carole King and Jerry Goffin, and Cynthia and myself. You know, we'd all be writing for the same recording artist who was about to record. and everybody who was signed there would write the songs, and whoever had the best song would be their song would be recorded. And
so you'd get an assignment. So Kirshner or what the other guy is, Al Nevins, or one of them would approach you and say,
yes,
blah blah is looking start. Is that
that's
what it
right.
is?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, now if we wanted to write, we would. If we didn't want to write, we didn't write. So
Right.
But it ended up that Carol and Jerry and Cynthia and I ended up getting most of the records, most of the hits.
Boy, you sure had him too. Boy, oh boy. At that time, another question I've always wondered is when you would sit in your respective cubicles or rooms or whatever it was, did you hear one another through the walls?
Yes.
Working?
Yes. So Carol said once in a while she would hear somebody robbing some of her riffs or something.
Oh. Oh God, I heard a story one time. I don't know who it was that told this, but they were in a situation like that, and they came out having written what he found out later was blowing in the wind. It's like, hey, listen to this, and it was like, no, excuse me.
Right, of course.
So the first song that you wrote with Cynthia was that Uptown?
It was a wonderful song called "Painting the Town with Teardrops." The artist was Vinnie Monti. And that was the first song we wrote. The next song, I don't know if it was right after Painting the Town with Teardrops, was a song called Bless You. Bless you, bless every breath that you take, and bless every move that you make, so something me, and bless your little heart for loving me. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, it does. And who was that?
The artist was a 15-year-old Tony Orlando, who had a hit. And the first hit he had was a song called Halfway to Paradise, which was written by Carol and Jerry. Oh. And anyway, it was Tony Orlando. Incredible. And that was about the second song we wrote. I mean, again, with Cynthia, we started having hits right away. It just worked.
Wow.
Uptown was around that time. Around that time, that year, I think I had Uptown, Blame It on the Bossa Nova, a song called Patches, which was a top 5 song, but you won't know it. And what else did I have? I think on Broadway.
60 that on 61. That was in 61, right?
Yeah. What was it?
Well, 60. You Sure the Boy I Love. I mean, I have a list of things, which is a great song. That is so awesome. And as a kid, I remember hearing Paul Peterson sing "My Dad." My dad, and we'd all go, "Oh, it's my dad." I love that little song. And then
it was a somber song, but I liked it myself.
It was great because it was universal. Everyone felt that way about your dad. And then "Blame It on the Bossa Nova." Now, what's interesting about that one, "Blame It on the Bossa Nova," that was recorded by Edie Gourmet, which just come through the publisher.
He got through Kirshner. Kirshner was really a great publisher. Probably the best that there ever was.
Wow.
And
he did his job, eh?
He sure did. I mean, he didn't. The publishing company wasn't the company that took your songs that were hits, and try to get records on those things. He really got our songs recorded.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's something that can be learned today, I think, a little more.
Yes.
By publishers around the world. Uptown is an interesting record because it was produced by Phil Spector, yeah? That's
right. When I wrote the song, he gets up each morning and he goes downtown where everyone's a boss and goes on an angry land. He's a little lad, head uptown. He goes out that evening to a tenement. I went to Uptown and don't have to take their bread. And when I had a build on that.
Yep.
And but when the singer tried to sing it, she couldn't. The range was too large. So Spector ended up cutting off the top part, which the song had made more musical sense with it. So my ears had to get used to the way they cut off
Really? So
that part. Yeah.
so what? I mean, we know the song as it is. So uptown, da 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 da.
You mean, let me go in lower key. Uptown. Da, 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 da. Start again.
Up, down, da, da, da. Well, are you talking about the chorus now or the verse leading up? Uptown, no, 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 da, 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 the lyric here somewhere.
Uptown, uptown, da, 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 da.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did that?
Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It built.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, it still works. When he's here with me, he can see everything. One more.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man.
So,
but that's cool. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just saying I was happy with the way it turned out anyway.
Yeah, it's a beautiful record. I mean,
yeah.
The
guitar on it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you've got this thing. I'm going to keep harping on it because it's a minor gush on my part, but it's something I observe.
Oh, I like when people gush over me.
Okay, good. Someone to gush over me. So, and when he's there with me, he can see, he does everything. Now you have to understand, he talked about a hook before, and a hook is something that's familiar to the ear, and something you want to hear again. It's something that when you hear it, you go, oh, that's new, or oh, I'm engaged, or whatever it is. Some songs have several in them, and this was one. And Barry is one of the kings of hooks, and I suspect, especially from what you said before about music, this is not something you necessarily tried for.
No.
But landed upon, yes?
Absolutely.
Would that be fair to say, or?
Yes, it's fair to say.
Okay. But when you came up with that, when you come up with that, you had to go ooh la la, right?
Yes.
And
he don't crawl, he's a king. Anyway, I like the song the way it was before, and I liked it after they cut out that part. But it would have been better if it could have been a duet. That way, I could have kept, I could have kept that part.
Okay. Well, maybe there'll be a director's cut at some point.
Maybe
you could restore it and
I should
do it
live
the way
so
that you intended. Okay. Then okay. Well, that same year, 1962. I'm gonna have a little water here. You did you wrote on Broadway, and I'm curious. Obviously, everybody knows that song. On Broadway, you wrote with Lieber and Stoller. Was that a function of the Brill Building, the writers' room? Did you just happen to, hey, I have something, you want to work on it with me? How did that work?
There's a long story in that. Cynthia wanted to write a song that had. She always wanted to write a song about Broadway, and I wanted to write a song that had a Gershwin-esque feel, So we wrote the song for a girls group, and the original lyric was, "I hear the neon lights are bright on Broadway. I hear that the dreams come true there every day. I hear that life don't get you down the way it gets you in this small town. I swear I gotta get me there someday." That was the original song that Cynthia and I wrote. We played it for Kirshner, and he liked it. And then I found out, I thought that we wanted the drift, Lieber and Stoller were about to go on and cut the Drifters. And Cynthia and I thought, well, this would be great for the Drifters. And little did I know, he talked to Lieber and Stoller and said that we have this Barry and Cynthia wrote this song that I think maybe you guys should listen to. So we went up and played it for Lieber and Stoller. And it happened naturally when they heard the song. They said, "Look, we're cutting the Drifters. This song I think could really work, but the lyrics have to be changed because of this, the sex is different. And they said you could either write it with us or you could go home and write it yourselves. And we jumped at the chance to write with Lieber and Stoller. I mean, they were, if we ever had idols, it was Lieber and Stoller. So, yeah. So we ended up writing it with them. And that was an exciting, it was an exciting combination with them and us. Jerry and Mike and Cynthia, when she, being an obsessive compulsive personality, when she would write a lyric, she would have to have the first verse finished and the next verse too, you know, she would never go back or go jump ahead. Jerry, especially, I mean, if we get stuck on a line in the second verse, he'd say, let's go on to the chorus. And it was very exciting the way he threw out lines, and and the lines were great lines. If you know, of course, you know the lyric of On Broadway.
Yeah,
and we ended up writing a great song. Mike changed the melody slightly. I mean, the original melody was da 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 on Broadway, like a bluesy note, and da 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 da. But when you but then that's da 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 Broadway. Anyway, what Mike really contributed and it was a great thing to contribute. You know, On Broadway is just one verse that's repeated melodically.
Yeah.
And Mike said, why don't we transpose the next two verses?
Oh, interesting.
And that really energized the song even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's how we ended up about writing On Broadway.
That's fascinating.
Twice.
Twice, yeah. Well, when you said you wanted a Gershwin-esque song because it's New York City, whatever.
Yeah.
That would be something that he might have written, I suppose.
Da 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 da.
Right. The blue note.
The blue note. Exactly.
Yeah. Got it. Well, it's wonderful work, and everybody is so happy that you wrote that song. And what did you think of the George Benson record? Did you love that?
It was great.
Isn't that cool?
Great. It was not only was it great. It was great to see it as the opening for All That Jazz.
Yeah. I'd forgotten it was in that.
The opening was incredible.
George Benson. That thing.
And it went on, and it was really terrific the way he combined, the film with the song. It was just great.
Yeah,
very
exciting. So exciting. Well, Saturday Night at the Movies, great song for those of you who may know that one. Saturday night at the movies. Here's what picture
they see.
Here's what picture you see.
And you
last row of the balcony. It's a tight little thing. And I want to, when I first heard Here You Come Again,
right.
There's a reason I'm jumping.
That's okay.
I was driving along in Los Angeles, and when I heard the song with Dolly singing it, and I pulled over to the side of the road, and I started to cry.
Oh my God!
I remember the moment I could actually turn the tears on now. Should I contact it again?
Right.
And I thought it was curious. I was so overcome with the beauty of the perfection of this unit that you guys created.
Oh my God!
There was something. The perfection itself. It was just perfect. And when it says, here you come again. Here you come again. Looking better than a body has a right to, and shaking me up so. All I really know is here you come again, and here I go, and I just burst into tears, and that was what it was. It was just absolutely so correct and so spot on that it had that emotional effect on me.
Did you feel you wish you had written it?
Always. But actually, no. Part of it was it was gratitude for the fact that someone rang the bell. Someone on the merry-go-round, someone grabbed the ring and grabbed it clean. I went, that's the reason I'm doing it, and they hit it, so it was very moving for me. And so I wanted to share that with you because so many of your songs have that effect because they, whether you intended it that way or not, there's a perfection to the package of it. It's a start out, it's a progression, it's a process through the visuals of the song, the images of the song, and it winds up, and it just like a good book, good story, and it goes, and that's why it blah 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 blah. Close the book, and you go, you know what? That was a perfect circle. That was just perfect. So
people usually say the same story when it came to You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling. When they were in their car and they heard it for the first time, they had to pull over and listen to it. Very interesting.
Wow.
I never heard that about Here You Come Again, but I can understand. It's a really poppy song, but it really is a good song.
It's a good song, and I heard your version of it. You did an album of it on Arista.
Yes, and they were going to release it. He was looking for Clive was looking for a TV series, and he never did. So he never put it out. That was one of the other times that I didn't make it as an artist when I probably would have made it if I had released that version, my version, which is very close to Dolly's version.
It is. I heard it. It's terrific.
Yeah.
It could have been a hit, but there you go. You had your hit.
Yeah, it could have been a contender. You know what I'm saying?
It could have been a contender, but you were a champion instead. You traded it on.
Right.
Okay, so here's so all right. Now I want to get into some other things. You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Me too.
All right, good.
Okay. So Only in America. I heard stories. It's only in America, land of opportunity. Whoa, Jay and the Americans. Iconic. I guess it was a summer maybe of '63 or something. Anyway, but I heard that that was not your intention. The original lyric was more socially activated.
No, that was not the original lyric. Is what it ended up being. We thought maybe we should try to write it only in America, land of opportunity. Do they save a seat in the back of the bus just for me? Only in America, where they preach the golden rule. Do they start to march when my kids want to go to school? We just did that quickly. And Jerry said, I wanted to write it that way. And Jerry said, look, you could write it that way, but it'll never get played, and you'd be crazy to. So Cynthia and I gave into it, and we wrote it the way you hear it now. But the irony of it is we had written the original lyric, the Jay and the Americans lyric, for the Drifters. And we put the Drifters on. Oh. And lo and behold, when they brought the record to disc jockeys, they wouldn't play it. They wouldn't play it because it wasn't true at that point in time that a black man could be president, Oh. And all those, those white cliches that were a truth for somebody white. Wasn't the truth for somebody black.
Wasn't realistic. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And so they were on the track. They did record it.
Who, Jay and the Americans?
The Drifters. Did they get that far? Did they actually put their?
Yes, absolutely. I have it here somewhere.
That's extraordinary. I bet that. Well, that better have been a great record too, because they were so amazing.
It was.
Well, you mentioned Phil Spector a bit ago. He did a lot of your songs, and he did. He did "Walking in the Rain."
Right.
which is a great song. And that's, again, that melody, like walking in the da da dee doo doo doo, da da dee doo doo doo, da da doo dee doo dee doo. It's
But
unique.
there's a part that evidently my subconscious robbed in front and walking in the rain. Like, let's say, walking in the rain, the stars up above. So I want him and I need him. And someday, whoa, he'll be kind of shy. Maybe it's going to look good. It was something, and I can't get it, and I can't remember it. Bobby, no, he'll never do. Hey, we'll never. No, they'll never. Never. Da da da. That melodic line is in a lot of songs.
Is it? No.
Ezio Pinzo. What in?
Oh, the South Pacific.
South Pacific.
I don't know. I can hear it in South Pacific.
It's in South Pacific.
Okay. But what you did was you opened the chorus after the one of the phrase. But right. You opened it, you went na da dee da da, like walking in the rain. So that was I've never heard anything like that.
Really?
No, because you didn't go. Ordinarily, it would go, never let her go. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Oh, walking in the rain or something. But never let her down. So the one of the chorus started with on the da da dee dee da, like walking in the rain.
Yeah.
It goes from there. I'm just saying it starts delayed, which made it very unusual and unique.
Yeah,
you didn't know you did it.
No, I didn't. And also, Cynthia hated the song.
What?
Because of the part of Johnny, no, he'll never do Bobby. He wouldn't do they would never. That, and but evidently the rest of it really, held its weight. Yeah,
it does hold its weight, but it also winds up fine. That's a beautiful lyric on her part. So many of these things are gorgeous. And studying these over the last week and sort of reminding myself of these things, I'm so taken by the quality of her work. But even that, when she ends it, Bobby, they'll never do, isn't him too. They would never know. They'd never, ever love walking in the rain. And again, it just wraps it up. That's all. That's all you need. So anyway, so you walking in the rain, Uptown, and I Love How You Love Me. Was Love How You Love Me produced by Phil Spector?
It was, yeah. Now there's one other. I think there were 4 songs.
Oh, He's Sure the Boy I Love.
He's Sure the Boy I Love, right?
Yeah. So then it's 1964, and he had done these songs of yours, and then comes this song you wrote called "You've Lost That Love and Feeling." Okay. Now, did you present it to him first? Like, hey, Phil, here's something you might like. How did that happen?
No.
Tell me.
It's a long story. We were living in New York. He was living in California. He asked Kirshner, I want to write with Barry and Cynthia. So we wanted to, he wanted us to fly out there. We wanted Kirshner to pay for it. He didn't want to pay for it, which is crazy. Anyway, so he ended up paying for it. We flew out to California because when we got together with him, we got together right away after we got off the plane. Anyway, so we got together and he played a record by a group that he had, and it was a very up-tempo, like Sam and Dave. One was called Little Latin Loopy Loo, and the other was called My Babe. My baby, baby, she's so fine. One of those kind of things. But they were great. I mean, you could tell that they sounded black, and but they had a different quality. I mean, both of them just so. anyway, he wanted us to write he wanted all of us to write for them. And we were very turned on right away. And we went back to a hotel, just Cynthia and myself, and we started writing the song. Our favorite song at the time was Baby, I Need Your Lovin'. And that became a template, where we opened it into a really beautiful big chorus. Baby, I need your lovin'. God. Anyway, so using that as a template, we started to write You Never Close Your Eyes Anymore When I Kiss Your Lips. Anyway, we wrote 2 verses and a chorus. And he said, let's play it for Phil. So, and I couldn't figure out how to end each chorus. So anyway, we played it for Phil. It made him cry when he said, man, that's going to make me cry. It's so touching. Oh. That's why I want to remember it. You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. It's like you're trying hard not to show it. Baby, I know it. Okay. No, the line was something beautiful's dying.
Yeah,
that's the line.
Yeah,
that's the line, especially where it came melodically.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we played them that, and then we said, and by the way, we use You've Lost That Love and Feeling as a dummy title. And when we played it for Phil, he said, no, that's the title. You got to keep it. Well, he really said, no, man, that's the title. As he would talk, he talked like Ahmet Ertegun. Anyway, so, and then also I didn't know how to end it. The gone, whoa, 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 which is what he added to that. And then he added conceptually a very important part of that record, which is the middle part. Bum, dum, 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 dum. And we started then, but all of us started to just, improvise.
Oh.
Baby, I get down on my knees for you, So we did that, had a complete song. Now he came to play, wanted to play it for the Righteous Brothers. So we got together with them. He played on the piano and I sang. Or it doesn't matter. I think I played and sang. And I sang the song, and Bill Medley said, would be great for the Everly Brothers. And he really didn't like the song. And the reason he said it would be great for the Everly Brothers is because I really like the Everly Brothers, so I sang like them. So that's why he said that. But anyway, I found out later, many years later, that he really didn't like the song.
That's crazy.
He didn't realize how good. Look, also they improvised on that middle part, and they added the screaming on, the baby.
Yeah. They improvised that.
Yeah, which was pretty great.
Well, it makes that tension. It's that moment is just. It's pure tension. It's very bright to have put that in there.
Yeah, it was a very good. It was a very good record. It was because you had 2 great singers. We had a really good song.
Yeah.
You had a great producer.
Yeah.
And, it all worked. It all mixed well.
When you finished the first 2 verses and 2 choruses, did you and Cynthia feel that you really had something there, or was just another song, or what did you feel about it?
Phil Spector says it's going to be the most important, a very important song for you and Cynthia, and so we believed him.
I see.
But when we played the song and we were done playing the song, Bobby said, "Hey, he always sang harmonies throughout their records in the past,
Right.
And he said, hey, what am I supposed to do while the big guy's singing?" And Phil didn't miss a beat. He said, "You'll be going to the bank." Which is why, and they ended up buying the bank.
Oh boy, did they ever.
Yeah.
Were you in the studio when they cut that?
No, I wasn't. And it's good that we weren't, because he cut a great record. I could have said something that could have made it go astray.
Right. Yeah. Hey, it could have been, hey, change it. You've lost that loving something else. Chicken.
It's really wild because
No,
I love chicken, you say?
I don't know, but I know what you mean. No, just stay away. But you produce and you arrange too. So
A little bit, yeah.
when these records happen, do you like to be in the studio? Would you prefer it and kind of watch over it?
Yeah, but sometimes, like I said before, that sometimes I could give something that'll make the song go in another direction, and it may be a wrong direction.
I understand.
So sometimes I like being in the studio up to a certain point. Sometimes it gets very boring.
Sure. Right.
When you got something great happening, then it's not boring at all. Then you could be in there for hours, but because something great is happening. Yeah.
Well, yes, that's the truth. Just for the listeners, I said it in briefly before, but You Lost That Love and Feeling, the most played song of the 20th century.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. I mean, who knew that it was going to end up being that way?
Sorry, go ahead.
It beat out Paul McCartney for many, many years, I think.
Incredible. I guess it fought with Yesterday would be the other one.
That's right. Yeah, Yesterday.
And Wikipedia says this funny one. They're good. They like to do these things. If this song were played back to back 24 hours a day, it would equal more than 65 years of continuous play.
That's right.
So I guess do you think someone would actually put that into play?
There's a guy
let's see if that's true.
There is a guy in a little room all by himself. This is the third day that he's done it. So we'll see what happens.
Got another 64 years and 17 months to go.
That's it.
Oh my God. Oh boy. When you guys work together, you and Cynthia, how do you have a how do you? I mean, do you work by the clock? Do you like to work on a schedule? Do you punch a clock, or do you just kind of do it? Hey, honey, I got this thing. Whenever it is, night or day.
A little bit of both,
Okay.
And that's it. I mean, that's the answer to it.
And when you give her the melody, she gives you the lyric, and like any good collaborator, I would assume you are both going back and forth with, if you add another note, I need this word, right. And
yes.
You work it together. You fashion.
Yeah, I wanted to say something else about it. Look, when it came to writing with her, early on, it would be, I'd give her a melody, maybe, and she'd give me a lyric. But then when synthesizers came into being, I would end up not only giving her a melody, I would give her a melody with a track. And that really helped her a lot too.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, she's a very hip girl. I mean, she's got rhythm in what she's doing. I could see that would be a good thing for her. She'd like that. Yeah,
she's just a brilliant writer.
That's right. Boy, that's right. Mm. So just a few more questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a teen. Now I'm in college, I guess. Is that possible? No, I'm younger than that. Anyway, but on comes The Animals, 1965. Okay, and we got to get out of this place, which I didn't know that you guys wrote, because I figured it was a British, I don't know.
Sure, of course.
And McCartney or something. Who knew? And loved that song. And I just loved it, as did so many people. In fact, I just saw yesterday a video of Springsteen singing that song with Eric Burdon in their concert. But we got, for those who don't know it, you should. We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do. And what I think is so incredible about this is, first of all, the bass line, which you did write. I know you did, because it's on your recording.
I came up with, that's how we began to write the song, with that bass line.
Don did 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 don dum, doo,
That's
dum,
right.
doo, 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 doo. And you played that on the piano while you sang, yes?
Yeah, very hard to. He's one of the songs. Yes, I can't do it. I can't. I'll flub it every time.
Well, the demo that you did, I guess it was a recording, wasn't it? I mean, you were.
Oh yeah. I wish I could play it for you. Would you love to hear the demo?
Yeah, I've heard it. I'm sure.
Oh, you have heard? Okay, then.
Oh
that's
yeah,
all right.
I've heard it. And did you want to say something about that? Because I have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, there's a long story. You ask the question first, and then
Okay.
I'll tell
So,
you.
well, one more musical observation.
Sure.
So, for those writers there, so you got, let's say it's let's say the first chord is a C7. It's a verse, and it's on one chord. In this dirty old part of the city, and then da 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 da. You got some sub chords, but it's basically C7.
Right.
Da, 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 da. And then it goes into some attention space, and then man goes, he changes the freaking key. He changes the key. Well, you say, well, yeah, but that's completely. It's a joy, and that's the thing.
Oh.
Everybody goes, and that's why everybody sings it. It's a great melody, but it's because it was attached to that prior section, and it bumped up, and I think it just bumped up. I think it was just a half step or something, whatever it was.
It could have been a half step, or it could have been a minor third. Is that correct?
I don't know. Work.
No,
and now it's in the key of F now. It starts in C7, which is the five of the key of F, and it's perfect. So I wanted to just acknowledge that first of all, and then here's the question. So on your record or demo or whatever that was, on the section where Eric Burdon famously says, "We've been working, work. We gotta get out of this place."
Yeah.
And you said, "We can make it. We can make it. I know we can make it." Where did this work thing come from? Did Burdon mess with that because he's a working class guy and he thought it was cooler, or what? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. He changed it. He changed it a lot. By the way, they changed it a lot.
Yeah.
The feel, of course, was totally different, but of course, he had to do that. I mean, these are guys that work in coal mines,
That's the thing.
And
what did you think? What did you think when you heard it? Did you go, "Oh no," or did you go, "Hmm"?
I went, "Oh no." They changed some of the lyric. They, but the gist of it was the impact of it was the same for both my version and his version. It's still,
yeah. I mean, the story's the same, and this is not working. This is not happening. I'm losing. I'm dying here. We got to get out of here, and that's universal. So
see, we wrote the song for the Righteous Brothers, so you could hear in that demo that the demo was very Righteous Brothers oriented.
Wow.
It
had the big reverb on it when I heard it.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yeah, but I would happen to be on Redbird Records at the time, and my demo at the time was about to be released as a single.
Oh.
So that's what really killed me when we went up there and we heard it, and Kirshner said, "It's #2 in England," and I thought, well, I'm really screwed because I'm not going to put out a record of it, and be in competition with the Animals and with Eric Burdon.
Sure.
So it never went out. And here I am looking for my follow-up to Who Put the Bump. What the heck?
That's so funny. Well, listen, never too late, my friend. So here we go. So I have a few more questions. You're doing. I so appreciate this. This is a joy for me, and it's a joy to get to know you a bit too. You know, we see each other at functions here and there. Oh, hi.
Yeah, right.
And
I mean,
actually having a little tea and crumpets today, which is nice.
oh yes, that's quite nice.
Quite.
Yeah.
All right. So okay, just a few more of these genius things that you've done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is your
Keep
fault
going.
because then you wrote Soul and Inspiration, which was for the right.
That was a poor man's "You've Lost That Love and Feeling." That's how we felt about it. There's a story behind that too. We began writing it. Cynthia and I began writing it, and then Spector ended up. The Righteous Brothers left Phyllis Records. Phil's record company.
Oh.
And I think they went to MGM. And
Oh.
we had, like I said, we had started writing Soul and Inspiration. But like I said, it was a poor man's "You've Lost That Love and Feeling." So we stopped writing it. But we had played it somehow. We had played it for Bill Medley, just the beginning. And he said, "Why don't you finish it? You know, I could be a hit or something like that." And I said, "No, we're not going to do that because of what I just said. You know,
Yeah.
It's a poor man's."
You told him that. You told him it was a poor boy's.
Love and Feeling. So we forgot about it, and probably I think about it. I don't know. 6 months later, he said, "Look, you got to write that song. I really think it's a great song."
I stayed with him.
So we ended up finishing the song, and it ended up being #1.
Wow. That's a gorgeous song. Did you produce it in the end of it? In the end?
No, Bill did. Bill produced
he did.
it.
Okay. That's a gorgeous,
very gorgeous job.
Gorgeous record. Okay, then. Now Kicks. This is for me personally. Okay, as I love the song, and I'm sure a lot of rock and roll musicians have said this to you, but this is one of my favorite songs of the '60s, of all of them.
Really?
Kicks. Yeah, Paul Revere and the Raiders. It's a beautiful lyric by Cynthia, and it's an anti-drug lyric, very clearly,
right.
And do not take drugs, and which was unusual, I guess, for the time anyway. But it was such a good record, and the chord changes, and of course we have the situation with the bass line and the guitar line in the beginning, which is so famous.
Same concept. As we gotta get out of this place.
Yeah.
It was the same concept, because coming up with a bass riff, really. Except that was.
But the guitar is going don't ga ga gong ga 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 ga. But the bass is going dun 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 dun, and those together is what made the color.
I wish I could say I told them to play that just that way, but I didn't.
Okay. That's the LA guys, I guess.
But I did have a demo. I did have a good demo.
Did you? Oh wow, I'd love to hear that.
Oh yeah.
That's a great song, and that was just rock. That just rocked. And then you wrote "Hungry" for the Paul Revere and the Raiders too.
Right.
Hungry for the good things, baby.
That was a better record than my demo was good. I got a demo on that also, but
really,
yes, but the record was even better than the demo.
Wow. Were those songs recorded? They were recorded in L.A. I'm assuming. Was that the Wrecking Crew? Was that the same?
I'm sure it was Terry Melcher. Terry Melcher produced both of them.
Yeah, I'm sure that's who we'd use.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation. That period of time. It's a fascinating time.
Sure.
Anyway, beautiful stuff after that. Oh, and here's something that I want to also compliment you on. I remember hearing when it came out and heard it the other day in '67. So now we're in the very tumultuous political time in America, and you write "Peace, Brother, Peace."
Oh, I was going to wonder if you had heard it.
I've heard it, and I heard it then, and I heard it again. Getting ready to talk with you, and it is the simplest thing. I don't know how long it took you to write it, whatever, but it's so powerful. It's so beautiful.
I love
And
it.
you produced that, I saw.
I did, yes. But I had a whole choir in the studio. I produced it out here.
Uh,
It never went, it hit the charts, but never really did what I would have hoped that it would have done. And it would bring all people together, all nations together, and everybody in the UN would get up and dance when they. I'm just joking.
no, I know just what you mean.
Yeah,
And
that one I really would have liked. I would have liked to see it really do something.
It's a beautiful record. It's a beautiful song. Bill Medley, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it was singing great. I produced Brown Eyed Woman on the same session. Do you know Brown Eyed Woman?
Oh, yes, I do. That was the same session, eh? Wow.
That's right.
Wow.
I really like Brown Eyed Woman. And I loved the way he was singing. He sang great on Brown Eyed Woman.
Sing a little Brown Eyed Woman. Remind me how that went. Brown Eyed Woman.
You look at me and baby, oh, see, I can't hit that. Oh, you see of my blue eyes. I'm not a man, baby.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I symbolize. Brown-eyed woman, stay away, baby. That's the girls. Brown-eyed woman, stay away, baby. Brown-eyed woman, stay away, baby. I can love you so, no. I can love you so, no. Brown-eyed woman, I could love you so, no. Oh, you want me to do the rest? I'll do it.
Anytime, baby. Anything you want.
We wrote it. We were in New York. Medley was out here. And we just wrote a song. We really like what we wrote, And it's about, a black man and a black woman and a white man. Or it could be the opposite. Anyway, she wrote the song. We flew out to California. And I rented a house. When I got there, I called Bill and we made an appointment for him to come over. So about an hour later, he came by the house. There was a knock on the door, okay? And I opened the door, and there's Bill Medley with "Darling Love." It was, and they were an item, and he thought we knew it. We didn't know it at all.
Wow.
That's one of those eerie things that happen.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So is the meaning of the song right there.
Yeah.
Crazy. Lovely. And when you, on that session, that golden session, which ended with Peace Brother Peace? Did it ended the session with Peace Brother Peace?
I don't remember.
Okay, but in any event, you did something which is great. And that one, peace. At the end, it's very MacArthur's Parkish in terms of a record. It travels. Yeah. It travels. It goes into waltz time. It goes bang, and it comes, and then the chorus comes in, and at the very, very end, it goes, "All my sisters and all my brothers, peace, peace," and he shuts up, and you put on the chorus. Peace to end it, and that's just tears flooding at that moment.
Well,
yeah, that must have been very special to hear that back.
Sure, boy, in a studio with big speakers, it just blew everyone away.
Oh man! Oh boy! All right. Just a few more, my friend.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, as we stroll toward present time,
right?
The happiness, the happiness factor is so there. Make your own kind of music. I know it was recorded by a lot of people. Cass Elliot had the big hit, right?
Right. She had a hit. I don't know. It wasn't big.
But it's just a great record. Wide open chorus. Make your own kind of music. I'm going to sing it because I love it. What?
I wish I could change one line. Wait,
What?
nobody can tell you there's only one song worth singing. They may try and sell you because it hangs them up. It's such a
Oh, it's from the time.
yeah, from the time. It just anyway.
Well,
It just bothered
you
me.
didn't say groovy in the song. You didn't go
We
there.
said it. You said that in another song. Really, I think I said we say groovy. I think.
Yeah,
Oh
out
my
of
God,
sight. Did you ever do an out of sight?
no.
Oh, okay, just as well.
Okay.
Okay, then okay. So then back to Here You Come. You wrote Rock and Roll Lullaby, Just a Little Lovin'. By the way, Dusty
Yeah.
Springfield tune.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful song. That's a great song. Here You Come Again. I hate to bring this if it's bad for you. I don't know, but you did cut that on your record at Arista. And
Yeah.
Clive, did Clive say no because
Which
Dolly
song?
had such? This is Here You Come Again. Just back
Here
to
You
that
Come
one.
Again. Yeah, yeah.
Because you did a great record of that. I heard the record.
Yeah, it was a really good pop. It's a pop record. It was a pop song, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, what do you want to know about it? And,
Well, it was only that Clive. I had a similar experience with Clive at that time. That very year.
I remember
Yeah,
you were on.
I had trying to get the feeling, and then Barry Manilow recorded it, but I didn't write it anyway. But there were things. Well, no, let's give it to someone else. And I went, okay. And I always had the feeling that, well, there'll be something else on the record that'll be a big hit, and I'll have two. But
yes.
some other
Yes.
time.
Clive could break your heart, but at the same time, he does some things that are really, really, really good. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a record man, you know.
He sure is. Did you ever sit with him and listen to, like, do casting sessions with him? Because he had his little coterie of people around, and he'd play new songs for people and kind of check them out. How did they like it and such? Were you ever part of that group?
No, not at all.
We'd sit at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the artists and promoters and such, and he'd play records and say, "What do you think?" And we go, or "Wowie," and he'd go to the next one. He'd survey us.
Right.
Anyway, he was a smart guy, very, very good, and a nice man. Very good guy.
Yeah. I never got to know him, you know, on a human basis.
Yeah, he's really a good guy. When you wrote "Sometimes When We Touch" with Dan Hill, did he give you a poem? How did that?
He gave me a lyric, and I wrote to a lyric, and I changed some lines had to be changed.
Okay.
You know? And once I got it, once it came. It sounded like this. It's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
And Cynthia felt it could never be a hit because it was so pretty, and she was wrong.
Interesting. His voice probably helped to make it, because he has a little bit of he's got that longing and loveliness, but he's also got the gravel, a little bit of gravel.
Yes.
Probably made that.
Yeah, I love the way he sings. I love the way he sings.
Yes, he's beautiful, right?
Yeah, he's a great guy too. Real smart. You've met him evidently, right?
I've written a couple of songs with him. Yeah.
Oh, you have. Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
But he is a lovely man. Yes, and of course we know about that one because that was a number one, right? Number one in the world. No.
No, I think it was just top 5. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Number one in my house. Damn it.
Okay, great.
All right. We're getting to it. So now, when we're finished with all these songs that we're talking about, we're going to go back to the beginning and talk about the songs we didn't talk about. So you'll be here for another 7 hours. Is that okay? Till Passover. Is that all right?
I'll join the man who's listening to. You've lost that love and feeling.
Right, 65 years later.
Right, 65 years later.
Okay, then you write this thing, which now I want to also don't know much, which is a beautiful record. Aaron Neville, Linda Ronstadt. You wrote with Tom Snow and Cynthia. Right?
Yes,
beautiful melody. Beautiful melody.
Yeah, a lot of Tom Snow as part of that. He contributed a lot.
Good. He's so lovely. He's so good. And
yeah,
and it was interesting. I noted, don't know much. Oh, da da da. Space, 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 space. Da da da. That's all I need to know. There's that long space in there, which makes it so
Yeah.
irregular and
Yeah.
memorable. It's very good. But I also want to tell you that I heard your version of it.
Oh, you did?
And I did. And again, you know, being the weepy idiot that I am, I cried. And
Yes.
your version for me is ultimate.
Yes. I have recorded it twice.
Okay.
And that's the way the song it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be, even though it was a big, it was a big hit.
Yeah.
But it's much more appealing to me done the way I did it. Much more slower, more like seeing a songwriter, you know, done that way.
You wrote Just Once for James Ingram, you and Cynthia, and then Never Gonna Let You Go, Sergio Mendes. Again, these are pop classics. I almost don't even know what to say. But from a songwriter's viewpoint, you know, they're kind of perfect packages.
Yes.
And
just once is absolutely
good. So you feel that way too?
Yeah, Cynthia does too. That's a favorite song that she wrote.
Is that right? Well,
Yes.
It is great, and the record is great. James.
Oh yeah.
Perfectly on it.
Oh, he was a great singer, James. Just great. A song I wrote myself. There's no easy way to break somebody's heart. Well, we're getting bombed.
Oh, great, wonderful.
Oh, you can't hear it. Anyway,
we've got it on tape. It's here first.
Anyway,
You
know that song?
I don't.
It's called "There's No Easy Way." I wrote the lyric and melody. You never heard it?
No.
Go out and get it, and you really get blown away. It's something that the theme of it is something that I had held on to for years when I broke off with a girlfriend, and all the emotions involved. So get it. I think you'll be very, very touched.
All right, my friend. Let's see. Oh my God. Well, what I want people to know. See, part of the reason for this show is I want everybody to know who these people are, of which you are at the top of this list. I want people to know and remember and appreciate you and Cynthia and the standard that you've set. And so it's for everyone. The culture, as you may have noticed, is sort of dipping in terms of richness, at least in my experience. There's some great records. There's some great things being done. Interesting things.
Yes.
Billie Eilish is interesting. You know, holding all the way back, and interesting subsonic basses happening, and that's really cool. But what you've dedicated yourself to is you could call it old school, but what it is it is timeless because it's so well done and it's so melodic and it's well done. You worked hard at these things. I know guys, whether you spend time on it or not, it almost doesn't matter. You work hard at it. And it's evident. It's in the work.
The timeless thing I wanted to say is somewhere out there. That song could have been written in the 1940s. It didn't matter. It worked. It worked. In this era, it worked also.
It is an exquisite thing, and it's from the American Tale, right?
That's right. That's right.
How did you get pulled into that? Spielberg produced that, I think. What did he call you up, or how did that happen?
Our agents got us the gig.
I see.
And we wrote it with James Horner. And the way we wrote the song, it was the first song we were going to collaborate on with him. And I said, "Why don't you go home and you try to write something to it, and I'll try to write something first of all, we changed the title. The title was something about the man in the moon or something like that. So the title was changed. Anyway, so I ended up writing da 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 da. I can't hear da 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 da. That's what I came in with, and he came in with da 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 da. You know that middle part. It fit like a jigsaw puzzle. It worked great, you know, and we worked on the connective tissue, you know. But anyway, that song could have been, you know, done in 1940s.
That's true.
So
it's a gorgeous song, and it won the Grammy for Best Song, right? That year?
Yeah, two Grammys.
Right, Best Song and Best Song written for a motion picture too.
That's
wow,
right.
and you wrote a bunch of songs with James and Cynthia for that movie. And but you scored movies too, right?
I scored one movie with a friend of mine, with Al Gorgoni, and we did a score for. I Never Sang for My Father. Yeah. It was a nice score.
That's beautiful. Did you say you did it with Al?
Yes.
How did you do that? Did he orchestrate? Is he an orchestrator?
He's an orchestrator. You know?
I see. So that made it easy.
Yeah, but he did. It was a good match.
When you write for film or theater, I know you've done a lot of theater as well. Do the two of you have a different process or a different look at what's different about writing a pop song than writing a theater song or a film song for you?
Well, theater, your song has to push the story forward, you know. You always have to do that. And pop song, you don't have to worry about pushing it forward. You just have to capture the artist that you're writing for. Yeah, I don't know if that made sense. Did that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Basically, that's it.
So one is, but you've got to find something. I'm thinking that's true for you and Cynthia about the song, even if it's for a character or for a scene. It's got to be something real for you. Yeah.
Something will come from us.
Yes. Right. Well, when you wrote Mask, which a musical version of Mask, which I long to hear. I hope I can hear some of that sometime. It was produced at the Pasadena Playhouse and directed by Richard Maltby Jr., who is terrific, isn't he?
Right.
He's a wonderful
nice
man.
Guy again. Another
He's
nice.
A very nice man and very good lyricist as well.
Yes.
He did write. He wrote the lyrics for Miss Saigon as well. Aside from his lovely work with David Shire. Anyway, so we're coming to the end of this. I do have just two more things I want to ask. We got this musical called Beautiful, the Carole King Goffin story, and you and Cynthia are featured prominently in this musical.
Yes.
I'm one of the few people in the world that hasn't seen it yet. But how did you feel? I have not seen it. Can I get tickets? You got tickets? But it's not playing anywhere.
It's not playing anywhere. No, it's not playing anywhere. It's
I will see. How do you feel that you were portrayed? Were you portrayed accurately by the actors there?
Yeah, the gist of it. Just the gist of it. It was me. At first, I was portrayed as a hypochondriac. And at first it bugged me, but then I got used to it, and I see. I mean, it's very important in the script. It really is. I like the way I was portrayed. Good.
And how does Cynthia feel about that as well? For her,
she's feeling the same as me.
She felt
same as me.
Good. Good. I hear it's a joyful evening, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's just fantastic. It's the kind of thing that you want to go and see it again after you see it once.
That's great. And you've got 4 or 5 songs in there too, right?
I got, yeah, 6 songs.
6 songs?
Yeah, a little bit, a snippet of Who Put the Bump is in it.
Oh, no. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And then your album, listen, that album that I mentioned before of you doing your songs
Yes.
is extraordinary, and everyone needs to hear this album. I want to promote it actively here. It's called Barry Mann, Soul and Inspiration. You can get it. Can you get it on Amazon and such? I know you can get
I'm
it on
pretty
your
sure.
website. Yeah, you can get it wherever you can get music. It's Barry at the piano with people with Carole King's on it, Daryl Hall, Bryan Adams, Richard Marx, Peebo Bryson. And it's exquisite, and it's Barry, and it's scaled down, and his voice is extraordinary, and these songs are the songs. And so please pick it up. It's just great. And you are, as the artist that you are a photographer.
Yes.
And a great one. How does photography fit into your life now? Are you active with that?
You know, everything was on hold. I'm not active. I wasn't active for a while. And then I felt like, hey, let me go back to it and see what's going on. So I ended up printing a lot of stuff. I printed a lot of very good photographs.
Mm.
So I just to do something, you know, instead of watching TV for a year.
Yeah.
So
good. Well, these things are. So I was saying these things are. Your work is featured on your website, and you've done gallery showings in L.A. and San Francisco and all over, but they are really extraordinary.
Thank you.
And they really are, and you're a wonderful artist, visual artist as well as physical artist. You're welcome.
Great.
Well, so okay. Well, do you miss New York?
No.
Okay. I understand. You don't miss scraping ice off the windshield? You don't miss it?
I don't, right. I don't miss the cold.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember now, I'm an old man now.
No, but you're timeless. Timeless.
Oh, that's nice. Always nice to hear.
All right. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our friends out there? What we got here, I'm thinking, are people who, aside from being fans of yours and your work, are songwriters. Is there anything you'd like to tell them?
Learn how to produce. And I think that would be a really, really good suggestion. You can, if you can get rid of the middleman, you'll probably get more records. That's basically it.
That's very important advice. Thank you. Yeah. Well, sir, thank you for being with me today, Barry.
Well, thank you.
You and Cynthia have given this world, something that actually can't be measured. It's true.
Right.
And you've inspired me no end as a writer and other writers, and we're grateful to you. So thank you. And please send Cynthia our love.
I will.
Thank you. And Godspeed to you, my friend. And we look forward to more music from you.
Great,
both.
Great. And at some point, when this virus is gone, if you want, you'll come over and I'll play you a mask.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love nothing more.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That wraps up yet another episode of Song Sessions. Be with us next time when we'll be spending more quality time with other master songwriters. Until then, for all my fellow artists who stay up burning the midnight or mid-morning oil, as the case may be, keep making beautiful things for us. Lord knows this world needs you now more than ever. So I said bye-bye for now. I'm David Pomeranz, and we'll see you next time on Song Sessions. Thank you, Barry Mann.